Hey guys, it's me, Dax Moy from daxmoy.com and, oh god, about a million other websites. Today here with just a very short message for you. A message is kind of more of a bunch of points to get you thinking about getting a bit clearer, gaining a bit more momentum in your life. And I guess busting past those things that are holding you back. See, I've been getting a lot of messages from people both in the personal training industry and members of the public that are really related to, Dax, how do I bust past this? How do I bust past that? You know, why do you think I'm stuck at this point in my life? Why do you think I'm stuck at that point? I can never seem to get past this. I can never seem to get past that, right? And I get tons of messages every single day from, like I say, from inside of the personal training industry, people that are trying to build their businesses, and outside of the personal training industry, people that are trying to make their lives better, trying to change their bodies, trying to transform their relationships, trying to earn more money. You name it, kind of the same questions come up again and again and again and again and again from pretty much everyone who contacts me. And it seems to be the same, like exactly the same questions. They're just framed in different ways. Like, why do you think I can't get my insert kind of word here, right? My business to earn me 6 figures, or my relationship right, or why can't I get my body in shape? And look, I've spotted this pattern. And there's a pattern that comes up again and again and again with people, and they're to me what I've come to think of as kind of like the pointless breaks, the pointless blockages, the pointless thoughts that we put into our daily existence, the ones that actually keep things exactly as they are right here, right now, and they don't give us the opportunity to change, to grow, to move past survival and move into kind of thriving, right? So most people are just kind of caught in this survival mode. And here's the things that generally tend to keep you caught in survival as opposed to moving on to kind of bigger and better things in your life. The first thing, and there are five main ones that I identified here and that I want to speak about in this video. The first one is pretty much what others think. Okay, people go through their life making decisions every single day about what they're going to do, what they're going to say, what they're going to write, what they're going to wear, the videos they're going to create, you know, if you've got a YouTube account or if you don't have one, right? Very often all these things are actually decided not based upon what you want to do, not based upon who you want to be and who you want to present yourself to, you know, present yourself to the world as. They generally tend to be based upon what other people are going to think. Oh, but what if I shoot that video and, you know, I go in and I talk about these 5 pointless things and people think it's crap, or people say, God, you know, who the hell is this Dax Moy guy to come in and tell me how I'm supposed to run my life and all this other thing. This is what goes through people's minds, right? They're so concerned with what other people are thinking that they don't take the time to ask themselves, well, what is it that I think? Because, see, here's the thing, your voice is just as valuable as anybody else's. It's just as valuable as mine. It's just as valuable as kind of any CEOs. It's just as valuable as any president or actor or actress or anybody, right? It's just as valuable. And until you can actually get to the point where you really believe that, until you can get to the point where you say, do you know what, I have an opinion here, I'm just going to put it out there, and the people that like it are going to like it, and the people that don't are going to don't. The people that don't aren't, right? So, you know, until you can get to that point, you're going to be a slave to other people's opinions. And here's the number, well, there are 2 main things that come to mind when I think about limiting myself around what other people think, right? And here's the first one. To be honest, it's none of my business. It's none of my business what you think of me watching this video. You might think I'm amazing, and that's none of my business. And you might think I'm crap, and that is none of my business. What my business is saying, who am I trying to be as I go through life? And let me make sure that every opportunity that life gives me to do that, I actually do that. Because otherwise I'm living your life for you. You get to decide for me that I don't think Dax should have done that video. And I really don't think he should have done that poem or that blog post or whatever. Right? And who gave you the right to decide for me what I should be doing? Right? Likewise, nobody else out there should be giving you instructions on exactly what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Apart from me, of course, with this video. Right? So, you know, don't worry about what other people think. It really is none of your business. And when you can actually start producing your material, your art, your gift to the world based upon that, things are going to change for you massively. The second part of this is that the truth here is that if you knew how little, how often people actually stopped to think about you, to be quite honest, to give a shit, right? People don't give a shit. They're not stopping to think about, oh, well, he should have done this and he should have done that. And nowhere near as much as you're thinking. she shouldn't have done that, she should have done more of this. People aren't spending that much time thinking about you. If you knew how little people thought about you, you'd actually be offended, right? And yet you're going through life terrified about what people might say and what they might think and what they might do and what they might write and how they might respond. Right? The truth is they're going to look at it, and even if in their mind they go, oh, that was crap, most people just generally tend to move on. They're not going to waste their time on something that didn't really move them. Okay, so just let go of this idea about what other people think about you, because it's completely irrelevant. Okay, number two on this kind of list of pointless things that are keeping you stuck exactly where you are is essentially overthinking your old mistakes or overthinking your past. Okay, your past is the past; it's gone, and it makes no difference anymore. That's the stuff you did. Okay, that was way back there. It's the stuff that you did, and if you screwed up, you screwed up. And if it failed, it failed. And if you bombed really, really big and you made a terrible mistake and hurt a load of people, or you made a terrible mistake and lost all your money, or it doesn't really matter, right? That was there. This is now, right? And yet a lot of people are actually trying to live their now, and even worse, live their future based upon the stuff that's back there. Okay, I think as Tony Robbins says, it's like trying to drive forward looking in your rearview mirror. It makes no sense. Okay, nothing that's happened to you up to this point really matters unless you're going to do one thing, and that is learn from it. Okay, if you actually say, right, it wasn't really a failure, it was a lesson. What can I take away from that? In future when I come up against these things, or right now as I'm trying to build a project that it has some of the same inherent dangers or some of the same kind of chances of these mistakes happening. Now, this time, I'm going to do this. Boom, boom, boom. And that's all you have to do. Right, but a lot of people spend their entire time looking backward at, last time I did that, I screwed up so bad and I really don't want that to happen again. So you just end up paralysed here in the present, which means that you never ever get to the future that you want. Okay, so it's another pointless thinking process. Instead of worrying about that, just look at, the fastest way for you to move forward from where you are right now is to say, literally look for the biggest mistakes that you made in your past, look for the biggest failures, right, and say, what were the biggest takeaways I can learn from that so that I never have to worry about making that again? Done. Finished. Right? Take what was a fear and just move it forward. So turn that failure into a lesson. Number three is it's a very, very similar idea. The number three on my pointless things list to kind of think about the things that are keeping you stuck exactly where you are is focusing on situations that you have zero control over. Okay, and there are lots of these situations in your life. You have zero control. You don't have control over the taxes you're going to pay, and yet you probably spend a lot of time thinking about how unfair the taxes are. And you have zero control over so many things in your life. And yet, how much time do you spend thinking about that? You don't have control over, again, what other people think about you. You don't have control over your partner. You don't have control over your boss. There's loads of things you don't have control over. What you have control over is you. And you can say, okay, well, this morning my partner was a bit off with me before we went to work, right? And I'm going to show him or I'm going to show her, and right? Well, that's not really a great way to go about things. Instead, just say, do you know what? I don't have control over him. I don't have control over her. I can't determine what they say or what they think or anything else. But what I can do is I can say, this is who I'm going to be in response to that. You have control over that. Right? And yet, again, a lot of people are trying to run their day based upon what everybody else is doing and things that are completely outside of their control. And it's a great way to be miserable because you are waiting to get all of the dominoes lined up or trying to get all the stars in the heavens in alignment, right? And you're saying, well, when he's good like this and when they do that and when they change the taxes and when they change the laws and when this happens and when this happens and when this happens, then and only then will I be happy, will I be content, and will I be kind of confident enough to push forward and go with my life exactly how I want it to go. But until then, I'm just going to wait because he was a shit to me this morning and she did that and the boss was like this, and it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Just let it go. Just let all of that crap go, and instead, focus on the things that you can control. I have some control over this. I'll do that. Oh, look at that thing over there that I have zero control over. Let it go. Right? Simple. Number 4 on the list of pointless things that are keeping you stuck exactly where you are is focusing on what you haven't got. Okay, what you haven't got. A lot of people call this goal setting, right? I don't currently have this, I don't have a six-pack, I'm going to focus on the six-pack, and I'm going to get a six-pack. Well, how has that worked for you so far? How is that kind of panning out for you in life? For most people, purely focusing on what they haven't got isn't the best strategy for getting them to where they want to be. In fact, and that doesn't mean don't have goals, that doesn't mean don't have some things to focus on, but it's how you focus. Okay, because most people make themselves so bloody miserable over things that they haven't got that they end up kind of not enjoying the life that they're currently living. Which means that, let's use that six-pack analogy. What you really, really want is a six-pack, and you look down at your belly and it's kind of, you've got a 40-odd inch waist and it's fat and you really hate it, and you go, oh, this is never gonna work for me, and every week you cheat on your diet 3 or 4 times at least, and you're eating cookies and you're drinking beer at the weekends and you're doing all these other things because you're focused on what you haven't got, and what you haven't got has made you miserable. How about focus on what you have got? You've got control over yourself right now. Right? You've got the ability to say, do you know what, today I'm going to make these decisions about my food. Today I'm going to make these decisions about my sleep. Today I'm going to make these decisions about my exercise. And then to be grateful for those things as they come up, instead of being pissed off and miserable about the stuff that you haven't got. Right? It doesn't mean don't have goals for the future. It doesn't mean don't have visions. It doesn't mean don't have passions and bigger purpose and looking forward and saying, yes, one day this is going to happen. Right? But that's way off in the future. How about you bring yourself back to now? How about you focus right now? And get really grateful for the things that you have got available to you, right? Because it doesn't matter what, life isn't as shit as you think it is, right? For all of us, there are days, myself included, there are days when you think life is really shit, like this, or this part of life is really shit, and how unfair is that, and how unfair is that, right? But every single day, even in the shittiest days, there are things that you can do today to be grateful. There are things that you can do today. Go, whoa, I have the opportunity to change this. Okay, these bits I have no control over, but this bit, there's some stuff I can do about this, right? So bring yourself back to, bring yourself back to the things that you have got, the things that you have got control over, the things that you can influence. Bring yourself back to that place. Number 5 on my list of 5 pointless things that are keeping you stuck where you are your fears. Okay, your fears are keeping you stuck where you are. They are absolutely keeping you stuck where you are, because your fears are essentially fears create 3 things, right, within what's known as the sympathetic nervous system. They create fight, flight, or freeze, right? The 3 Fs. Okay, fight is very, very often, and you've experienced this maybe with something as simple as a diet, right? Kind of, instead of enjoying the process that you've now begun a nice clean eating pattern, right? What you do is you start to fear instead. You fear that, oh my God, that means I'm not going to be able to drink beer with my buddies at the weekend, or I'm not going to be able to drink wine, or I'm not going to be able to eat that cake, I'm not going to be able to do this. It creates fear, and that fear creates either the fight. So in this case you go, well, screw that, I'm an adult, I'm allowed to eat whatever I damn well please, whenever I damn well please, right? Kind of, you fight against the thing. Or there's flight, so kind of you kind of curl up into yourself and you basically just run away from the goal, right? That's one example of flight. You just run away from the goal. Or you freeze. You just get stuck in time, and you keep telling yourself every day when you wake up that yes, I'm about to make those changes, but maybe not today. I think I'll start tomorrow, right? And everyone has had that I'll start tomorrow, I'll start Monday syndrome, right? With diets and exercise programs. Fight, flight, or freeze, and that always happens when you come up against a fear. So here's the things that basically create, like the easiest way to create fear is to project your mind too far into the future, right? Because now you think about the diet and you think about, oh my God, I've got kind of 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, or this is going to take me 6 months before I lose this 100 pounds off my body, or whatever it is, right? So you project yourself into the future, and now you start telling yourself stories that, oh, I can't possibly stay on that diet for 6 months. Oh God, that's going to be too tough, and it's going to ruin my life, and I won't be able to enjoy myself. Right? It's always future based. When it comes down to your job, you're thinking ahead, right? You're thinking ahead, oh, I've got a confrontation with the boss on Friday because I've really got to speak to him about this, and it's going to be really crap. Okay, or that discussion that you need to have with a partner, or whatever it is. It's always future projection that creates the fear. Because when you bring yourself right back to now and you say, where am I right this instant, and what can I do about something? Right? It puts you, what can I do about like every day on a 90-day diet is one day, right? So, you wake up, you go, what can I do today to make sure that I stay in control, to make sure that I stay with my diet? Okay, what can I do today to build a fantastic relationship with my partner? What can I do today to take care of those issues that the boss brought up? Okay, you don't. But when you start to project into the future, now the fears come. So if you actually want to get rid of your fears, just bring yourself back to now, just today. Right? Focus on today. And again, it doesn't mean that you can't have some future stuff. But if you project, certainly fear builds up with the further the timeline runs, the more fear you'll get. Okay. The further the timeline runs, the more fear you'll get. You start to project all that. Hey, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with this? How am I going to last that long? This is impossible. Well, don't do that. Okay, shorten the timeline and just bring yourself right back to now. Okay, or extend yourself out to a day. And if a day is quite comfortable for you, go, I wonder what, I'm going to see if I can last the next 3 days and stay nice and clean. I'm going to see, play with that idea, be with it. Okay, that doesn't sound too terrifying. A week. Okay, I think I could do a week, but there is a weekend in there. I'll tell you what, I'll focus on Monday to Friday this week and I'll just see how I feel by the time the weekend comes. Weekend comes, Saturday is only one day, isn't it? You wake up Saturday morning, you say, okay, today I'm going to stay clean. Okay, today I'm going to stay on the diet. So, it's always about coming back to now. If you want to avoid fear, come back to now. But these 5 things, I mean, they're a good way for you to stay stuck, right? Worrying about what others think, reliving old mistakes and kind of going into the past, worrying about situations you can't control, kind of focusing on what you haven't got and being ungrateful for that and pissed off about that, and being fearful, which is ultimately projection into the future, right? You do those 5 things, you're pretty much guaranteed to stay stuck. So here's what I'm saying. Don't do those 5 things. And in fact, I challenge you, right? I challenge you to do one week, right? Just one. Or how about this? If 1 week of doing that sounds terrifying, do 1 day. Do today of not worrying about what others think, not visiting your old mistakes, not worrying about situations that you can't control, not focusing on the stuff that you haven't got, but instead being grateful for what you have got, and not pushing yourself forward into the future so that you become fearful. Just spend today doing that. And if that feels really good for you today, come back in and actually leave me a message here under this post and say, this is what happened to me today. And then tomorrow, if you wake up and you feel like it, do the same thing over and over again, right? And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, right? It's that simple. I promise you, it sounds too simple and you think, yeah, Dax, life isn't as easy as that. How about you just give it a go, and you give it a go for 1 day, okay? So that's my challenge to you. I hope you take me up on it. I think it will surprise you. But at the same time, don't take my word for it. Give it a go and make your own decision. I'll be back really soon with another mad rambling, because as you know, I'd like to madly ramble. And whether you like them or not is none of my business, right? So I'm just going to keep coming back and rambling anyway. But there's a part of me, the ego part of me, that hopes you enjoyed this and hopes you got something out of it. And I would really, really like to hear your feedback from a perspective of, if you took it away and you said, Dax, it really worked well for me, or Dax, I tried it and hey, you were full of crap, it didn't work, right? I'm quite okay hearing both. So I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Take care.